Everyone can hear me all right? Just flick a message in the chat if you can hear me all good. That's better. Awesome, that's perfect. Cool, so what we're gonna do is pop some chats in here as I can see you're all firing them through, which is so cool to see. Ryan's gonna be manning the little chat and he'll answer some questions that come through as we go. We have got it on private, that way if you wanna fire any questions throughout, you don't need to be worried if they've already been answered or anything like that. Just fire them through. He'll answer them as he goes, and we'll also have a bit of a Q&A towards the end as well. But thank you all for joining us. This is awesome. To cover what we're doing, so in today's webinar, we will cover everything you need to know about when you're on site. So this will be the ins and outs of the app side of Cite Tab Pro. So whether you're a contractor, field worker, or admin, this will give you a bit more of an insight around what to do. So I'm going to briefly cover downloading and setting up the app and a few scenarios that you might come across along the way. We'll also dive into messaging, completing forms, editing already saved forms too. And you may also learn a few more tips and tricks as we go as well. Cool, so I'm sure most people already know this part, but if you are new to Cite Tab Pro, you will need to go to Google Play Store or your App Store to download the app. An admin will need to set you up as a user where you'll get your own email address and password to log in. Once you log in, it does log you in automatically each time going forward. The app can sometimes log you out for a couple of reasons, mainly if there's like a system update on your phone, but that shouldn't happen too often anyways. I do really recommend to store your password in a safe place somewhere. That way, if it does log you out accidentally, you won't need to reset your password each time. However, if you do forget, just click the Forgot Password button on the front of the app and you'll be sent the reset password link. When you first log in, as you see here, you'll be asked to set a PIN number. Best to write this one down too with your password so you don't forget it, as this is what you'll use to sign off your form each time. Awesome, so now that we've downloaded the app and logged in, we can start having a look around it. So Cite Tab Pro can be set up in many different ways, so the app can look quite different depending on what company you're actually working with. I'll show you a couple of examples today and how you'll complete and edit the forms you see in each one. Obviously, these are all just examples, so you may have completely different forms in your account depending on the way you do health and safety or the industry you're in. When arriving to site, the first thing you need to do is select the site you're on like we're doing here. To do this, click the job name and select the one you're on today. If you have your location services turned on, then the site you are closest to will appear at the top of the list. You can also use the search bar as I'm doing here to filter across the list as well. Then you just click the site to select it, and now all the forms you've completed will be saved to the site. The next step most people will need to do is check into site. Now, not everyone will have this button active in their account, but if you do, then you'll be expected to check in when you arrive and check out when you leave. So to do this, click that button in the bottom left corner to check in and click the check-in button. This is great because it just kind of shows your team and admin that you're on site and you're ready to work. Once you've clicked check-in, you will see that little icon up there show that you've checked in successfully. That will then go away when you check out. So to check out, it's the same thing. Just click the check-in button and then hit the checkout button. Great. Now it's time to start completing your health and safety forms. Although everyone's setup can look when you're filling in a form, you just need to click on it to open it and click on each question to fill it in. Here I'm filling in a pre-start. Sorry if there's any lag. It just depends on the Wi-Fi that you're in, but I will be sending a recording of this as well at the end. When you're filling in a form, you just answer the questions. If you want to add a photo to the form, you just click that little yellow icon that you might see coming up on the screen, and that can help you take a photo. If you don't see the yellow button, this is because the question you're on does save automatically, so you'll need to click back into the question once you've answered it, and then you'll be able to add a photo. If something goes wrong, you can click and add in one of these action required notes, and it's a little blue note in the bottom left corner, and you can explain what's happened. Most admins have set up their accounts so they get notified when something has gone wrong. That way they can action it straight away. We do have some really cool features around blue notes and notifications coming in our next release too, so keep your eyes peeled for that. You can also send emails directly from the app. Just click the mail icon up in the top right corner and pop your email address in and click enter. When you click send, the email will be sent straight away, so I recommend finishing off the form and signing it first. That way they know who the email actually came from. To save your form, you click the Save Final button, select your name from the list, and then you enter in your 4-digit PIN code that you set up at the start. If you can't quite finish the form off right now, you can save it as a draft and revisit it later. So I'll show you how to do that in a bit as well. Great, let's take a look into how to find the forms and what they mean. So your admin will let you know what forms they want you to complete, and I'll show you where you may need to find them. So in this example, if your app usually looks like this, that when you log in, you need to click that orange plus button to find all of your forms. This opens a list of all of your forms. Awesome. Cool. Best thing to do when you see the ad hoc list is to favorite some of your forms. So I'm going to star my pre-start form and my risk assessment, and I'm also going to star my toolbox talk as well. To complete the form, just click on it and complete the questions as we did before. So if you need to save this one as a draft, you'll have to go back to your saved forms later and try and complete it. I recommend taking a scroll through your ad hoc list and having a look through all of the forms that you've got. That way you can find forms like a near miss, a site injury register, maybe a site induction and things like that as you go, so you can really utilize the health and safety forms. Great. If your app didn't look like that one, then it could look more like this one too. This is using scheduled forms. You'll see a list of forms to complete here on a daily, weekly, and maybe even monthly list. So the form you can see here can only be completed by one person per site per the time period that they're scheduled for. So for example, if there's a pre-start form on the Today tab, then the person will be able to fill this form out for today for this site. You will then get a new blank form for tomorrow. If it was a weekly form, then you would be able to get a new blank form next week. These scheduled forms are perfect. They're perfect for your team leaders, site supervisors to fill out during like a morning meeting. As you can see here, we've also got some orange dots at the bottom of the screen, and these tell you that you've still got some forms to complete in that time period. So once you've completed them, they'll go away. Any forms that you want to complete individually will be found in that ad hoc list too. So here I'm just completing a toolbox talk form. It's a weekly form, so I'll just try and fly through some of these questions. This is our standard toolbox talk form, but again, your forms could have completely different questions depending on who you are working for and what they want you to have included in your toolbox talk form. So I'll just jump through, answer a couple of these ones. I really recommend after this webinar to jump back onto your app and have a look at the forms that you're seeing. That way you can see if it has relevance to you, see how much you learned and everything as well. When it has been completed, you can click the Save Final button as we did before and sign it off under your name. That will then show a grey tick next to your scheduled form like this one. If you didn't finish it and you saved it as a draft, it'll be like this risk assessment and it'll have the orange circle next to it. If you do save a form as a draft and you might forget to finish it off before you went home for the day, there's the date at the top of the screen. So here it says Wednesday the 10th. You can just click on that and go back to yesterday's date and you'll be able to finish the form up as well. Cool, so next we've got pinned forms. So not everyone has these, but some people set it up. So these show at your bottom of your daily diary screen. They've got the little green pin icon as well. So these forms are mainly used for risk registers or hazardous substance registers. So here I have a risk register. When I come onto site, I will fill in this form and assess all of the risks on site. So this will basically build a bit of a risk register. Unlike a scheduled form, when I come back to site tomorrow, this form will still be here completed. That way I can open it up, read it to familiarize myself with the controls that I've put in place at any time. Great, so if something changes on site and you need to update the risk register, I'll just click back on the form, and you can scroll down to the bottom here and click repeat previous section, and that way you can add more risk to it, or you can change some of your answers from before, but it'll stay there for your whole duration of the site. That way you can keep growing your live risk register as you come across more hazards on site. Again, not everyone will have this. It depends how your admin set up your account, but it is something that you can definitely do. So if we've got any admins on here, just flip me a message on how to do this and I can help you out with those as well. The final feature to explore here is the menu. So to find it, you click on the 3 lines in the top left corner. To start with, you have the messaging tool. This is used to send messages from the mobile. From the mobile, you mainly receive messages from the admin, and you can view messages by going back to your menu and clicking the diary checklist and going to the little menu message button there as well. Keep an eye out for messages you may receive from your admin like this one. So this one includes a form that they've sent that they want me to fill out. It could also contain a resource or just a message to check in and see how we're going. You can send messages by clicking that little message icon in the top right corner. But just a heads up, a message you send from here will go back to everyone in your account. Awesome. So next on the list is our saved forms. This is where you can finish off the draft forms that we left behind previously. So when you go to save forms, it only shows you the forms that have been completed on the site you've currently selected from that main diary page. Here you can view up to 30 days of forms. So to filter the list, you can change the date range. So here we've got where it says that's it, last 7 days. It brings up the list. You can change the category, or you can filter by using the search bar as well. So I want to find my form that has been saved as a draft. So I'll select this button up the top here to filter by all forms that have been saved as a draft. Next time, you should check the time to make sure it was the right form that you want to complete and just click on it to open it. You can even double check it's your form by checking the initials down the side, but to finish it off, just answer the final questions you forgot and sign it off under your name. Just so you do know, if it's a training or troubleshooting form, you will need to enter your PIN number to be able to open the form. This is because only admins, managers, and the person who completed the form has access to view these ones. Great. Next, we can click on the Cite tab to view all of your site information on the site that you're currently on. So some people attach site resources to your site as well. So if you do need to find anything, scroll down to the bottom and that's where you'll find it. Remember, your admin can choose what to call this tab. So yours may be named differently, whether it's like customer, projects, jobs, sites, so on. Here you can also add new sites too. Most admins add sites from their end. That way they're set up and ready to go when you need to. However, if you need to add them, you click that plus button, select your name to show you us adding the site, and then enter the site details as required. Just a quick note here for this one. If you do use the pinned forms that we spoke about previously, you can't pin forms when you set up a site from the mobile. So depending on how you set it up, you may need to let your team know that you've set up a site so then they can pin the forms from the admin console as well. Awesome, the final tab. So if you want any information about your suppliers or equipment, then you can view it from these tabs here. If you do your equipment maintenance, you can see on this tab when it is due. It will also show in red when your equipment maintenance is overdue, so you'll see that there. If you want to update your maintenance, then you can fill in a maintenance form found in the ad hoc list, and you can view the last completed one by clicking that eye icon there. If there is a paperclip next to an equipment, that means that there's an equipment resource attached. So if you need to access any equipment manuals, you should find them by clicking that one there. From here, you can also view the team members page. So you click on the menu and you go back to team. You can only access your own records unless you are an admin or a manager, then they can access everyone's. To do this, I'll just click on my name to access my own details. Then I'll select my name to show that I'm the one who's wanting to access my details, and then I can enter my PIN to prove that. From there, I can update my account details. That's good if you need to change your phone number or address or something like that. If you've forgotten your 4-digit PIN number, you will need to get an admin to take you to the team members page so they can sign it off and allow you access. That can be done from the computer side as well, so it's just whatever your admin or you guys find easier. Finally is your resources. So this is the last tab we're going to look into, and it takes us to the end of our features. So your team may have added some resources here that you may need to view or access on site, and we've also added some as well. So if you need to view them, you can click view and download, and that opens up the resource. You then just jump back to the app and you can click complete, and that way you can sign it off to show to your admin or your team members that you've completed this resource. Cool. Finally, we've just got a couple of tips and tricks here that may actually answer a couple of questions that have seemed to come throughout this session. Firstly, if you're a contractor and you use Cite Tab Pro for a couple of different companies, you can be set up as a user called a contractor. This means that you can use the same login details across multiple Cite Tab Pro accounts. So once you're set up as a contractor, you'll need to enter your login details at the login page, and then you select the account that you want to access there. If you need to change the account you're in from there, you just have to log back out, and then when you hit login, you'll be able to select the account you need to again. So we have got a bit of a shortcut coming for this one in our next release that will make this process a lot quicker and easier for you guys. So keep your eyes peeled for that one as well. And also, if you don't see the account you need to access, just contact the company's admin and they'll be able to add you in, or they'll be able to contact me to help you guys out as well. Awesome. So that actually brings us to the end of the webinar where we're going through the features. I think I've seen a couple of questions flowing through, which is awesome. What I'm going to quickly do is just put out a poll here as well around what you guys might want to see in the next webinar theme. We are going to do these monthly, so yeah, just feel free to answer this poll, or if you have any other ideas, flick it through in the chat. I'll just bring Ryan in as well, see if we've got any questions. I might chuck the camera on too. Perfect.
Hey guys, some great questions coming through there. If you just hit up questions, we've got a few good ones. Michelle sent some through, and Ben as well. So starting with Ben, I guess his question, if you just push that forward, we can answer that in the live chat. Good answer. His question is, what is the file size limit for resources, which is sort of Sophie's realm of expertise?
Yeah, so that's 3 megabytes for that one. What some people do if you've got quite a big PDF or something that doesn't fit is they can sometimes pop it in like a cloud sharing.
Like a Google Drive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A Google Drive or a Dropbox, and you can get like a shareable link. Then you can upload it as a URL resource. That way you can still add it in there, but you don't have to worry about the resource megabyte limit or anything like that.
Cool. We had another good one as well from Michelle. She mentioned, how long do the forms stay completed for? Or how long are they sort of saved in there? So basically what happens if they're scheduled daily, they'll be there for that day and they'll reset the next following work day. That's the same for the weekly forms, obviously just changing the schedule to a weekly basis. Ad hoc forms are completed just in that moment, and you can fill them in as many times as you want. Hope that sort of answers your question there, Michelle. If you need to touch base, drop me an email as well and we can have a chat. Cool, I'll just double check we've got everything else.
Yeah, that looks all pretty good. Yeah, so on the app, I saw Danny came through. The forms only kept for 30 days. From the app, we do only store 30 days worth of forms on there. It's just because it will make the app run super slow if we store your whole, 3 years worth of forms on there. So after 30 days, obviously all your forms are sent to the admin anyway, so you won't lose your forms. That's just all you can see from the app side of things. Yes. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Stephanie, that's a great question. So around how to create triple SPs and other forms, I'm actually thinking of covering this in the next webinar, depending on what the polls come back, more around form building and things like that. we do have a feature called a site safety agreement, which kind of does like a summary version on your SSSP. But you can also, I know some people create a full SSSP just from making a form as well. But Steph, what I might do is just flick you an email to go through this one so it can be a bit more personalized to you, because everyone can have a bit, you know, more specific to their health and safety forms as well.
Definitely. Just going through a few more here. Can you send forms to our office computer? Yeah, so basically all the forms that are completed on the mobile device go back to the admin dashboard, which is really cool. So obviously the percentages of forms are there on the live screen. You've got the insight bar at the top, which flags if there's any incidences or near misses and all that good stuff. So yeah, Danny, everything that is done on the phone will go back to the management screen. You can run reports, everything like that as well.
And it's basically done as soon as you open the form. So the minute it's open, it's sent straight to the computer side as well.
Cool. Chris, I'm hearing you, mate. We're going to do some more on the old SSSP.
Looks like that's the main requested one. Might have to be the next webinar feature. I can flick out to everyone asking about SSSPs a bit more information in an email as well. So I'll do that afterwards. I've got all your questions coming through.
Celeste, we got you. SSSPs. Alex, SSSPs. We're into it. Cool. Perfect. Overwhelming. Awesome. Start of day. Cool.
You can't fill in forms from the browser. That's a question that's come up a couple of times. The main reason we did that is it's more just so you can utilize the mobile features, because we find mobiles give you a lot more to work with. So then you can use kind of the offline mode. You can take photos on it. You can kind of annotate by drawing on the photos or using the sign off and things like that. So that's why we've stuck to a bit of a app-based model in terms of form filling.
Yeah, and like great question, Alex. I mean, definitely what you sort of weigh off with, I guess, ease of use on filling in forms on the browser, you sort of gain in flexibility from the site, which means that you can walk around the site, it's pliable, you can take photos, the mobile device works offline. So all the data is stored locally on that device and then pushes back up into the admin dashboard when you get coverage later on, which is cool. Just see if there's any more questions. If you've got any questions, flick them through now and we'll sort of get to the last of them. Just wait, you can see a few people typing, which is cool. So Roger, good clarification point there. Yeah, absolutely. So when a form is saved from the mobile device, it is 100% secure. It's your data. It's private. It's on your admin dashboard. Yeah. We don't see it. It's completely yours, whatever you need to do.
Great clarification.
Yeah, you're good to go. Ben, what have we got? Can we pull specific reports for the check-ins? So Ben, basically, if you jump into, so Ben's question is, how do I see who's checked in and out on a site? So what this is a standard pack feature. So if you're in our mid-size pack, you get the option to turn on the check-in, check-out. This is really, really cool because it geolocates where the guys have checked in relation to the site. So it grabs their location on their phone and pins this back to the dashboard. So Ben, if you go into reports on your admin dashboard on the left-hand side, and then click on form reports, and then click on the orange button on the right-hand side of the check-in, check-out report, you'll be able to see everyone that's checked into all of your sites, what time they checked in, how far away from site they are. It's a really, really powerful feature. So awesome question. If you need any more help on that, just drop us an email afterwards and I can give you a run through.
Kate, to answer your question, so Kate was just asking, can we store site passports and first aid certificates on the app? There's kind of two different ways to do this. We have user resources actually for this reason. However, we found we had a lot of requests around uploading user resources to keep them private because they were uploading, some medical information and stuff like that. So if you upload a user resource, that will be hidden from the app. If you want to add site passports and first aid certificates and make them public, you can go to your resources tab on the computer and go to certificates and permits and add them in there. You can also pop in the expiry date. That's why you can monitor it from the dashboard. And those will all pop up on that resources tab we looked at in the webinar as well. So that way, if they get asked on site to show that, it'll all be in there for them.
Cool. And Darren's got a good one here as well. He said, after a site or a job has finished, and obviously you've done the job, the work's done, how do you get it to sort of disappear? So all the jobs are on the admin screen. So Darren or anyone that's interested, go to your sites, jobs, projects, whatever you've called it, on the admin screen on the left-hand side. And then there's a little delete icon, and I know it looks like you're actually deleting it, but you're not. You're just archiving it. So you can then archive that job, and it'll turn off, so it won't display for the boys on site. The cool thing is that if you go back to that job later on, you can actually reactivate it. So if it's ongoing work, you can just turn the job back on. All the information that you did there previously will still be there. So it's quite a handy way of scheduling, I guess, sort of reactivating jobs, the schedule and that sort of thing. Hope that answers your question there, Darren. See a few more.
Michelle asks, having the ability to send all completed forms by site would be really useful for the future updates rather than having to download or email individually. So I think Michelle and I are actually talking about this recently, and we do have a feature where you can you can add your email address in when you're setting up a site, and that way every site form is sent off to one email address. I know some people use a bit of a Google extension on this, which automatically gets those emails and stuff added to your Google Drive and all that stuff as well to store it all. But we will hopefully be looking in the future for ways to get a bit of like a site report out. But I probably won't be coming in the next release, but it will be something that we'll take note of and look into for the, hopefully the future as well.
Cool. One thing I just wanted to jump over as well is that we do have another release coming out shortly, which is cool. It's got some really good new features in there. It basically comes from you guys. So the comments we get from you, the conversations we have, and I guess the insights into your workflow is really what feeds our roadmap. I mean, you guys are the experts in your space, and we just sort of curate that, right, from a software point of view. So there's some really cool features. I think we're going to do maybe a bit of a webinar the week before the release comes out to give you an insight into what's happening. One little teaser I'll sort of lay out there for you guys is basically on the app, if you get into the standard pack, where you press the check-in button, previously you can only just press the check-in or check-out. There's a couple new awesome little features in there. So per job, you'll be able to have a mandatory induction. So if a staff member or a contractor hasn't done the induction, you'll be able to see that they have done it, and you'll be able to push them to do it. And that's actually the same with the pre-start as well. So it's a little bit more structure and a little bit more, I guess, top-down control of what forms need to be done, which is really exciting. So anything else from you guys, just fire that through now. I can see Michelle's excited there. On that one. Kate's pretty happy too, which is cool.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that release because it will hopefully be a really big one, which is very exciting. Just a reminder while we are here, I see the questions have slowed down a bit. So we've got the Facebook user group, so make sure you join that. We want to use that as a bit of a community page, so feel free to chat to each other on it. Use it as a bit of a forum to bring up, common questions in your industry and stuff like that. I'll pop in some information about the releases, but I do want it to be more of a page manned by you guys as opposed to us just giving you some instructions on how to use the app. So we can build a bit more of a community around here as well.
Cool. Last question. It's a late entry, but that's absolutely fine. Rather have more than less. Josh asks, how long will the COVID questions still be live? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at sort of turning that off from Monday. Obviously, with us going to alert level 1, it could have been done on the day. We just wanted to finish the cycle of the week. So the jobs that are in play at the moment, it's finishing and rounding that up. I guess one of the things that we're trying to do is really promote engagement with health and safety and be thought leaders in the space while wrapping around and looking after our clients. So it was just making sure we finish that cycle. But from Monday, it'll be back to health and safety. Your pre-starts, your toolboxes, your risk assessments, all good. And if you want to sort of edit those and get those moving as well, just let us know and we can help customize those forms. We will be sending, Jeremy's just flicked out a quick one. We will be sending this webinar out to everyone afterwards.
It also will be sitting in our support library as well. So we've got heaps of videos and articles in there, and I've just set up a webinars tab too. So that way we can store all of these in there. So if you need to send them off to, new people working for you and things like that, it can be used a bit of a training tool as well. So they can get a bit of a thorough learning at the start.
Oh, so I mean, if that's it from everyone, we might just give it sort of a last 30 seconds just to see if anything else floats through. But otherwise, it was awesome having you here.
Yeah, and so we'll try and do these every month, usually around the same time each month. And we might even have, as Ryan mentioned, a bit of a sneak preview for the release as well. We might do that as an add-on.
I'll just keep dropping little teasers in just to bring you guys back.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining. It was awesome having you all on board. And just don't forget to flick me an email at support@CiteTab if you've got any questions, and we can jump on from there. Alex, I just saw your question come through, but I'll flick you a email around that one too. Sweet. Thanks, guys.
Cheers,
Have a great
guys.
rest of the
Bye.
day.